Kilis ran as fast as he could, driven by worry for King Aurelius and Musa's safety. As he approached home, he roared loudly to awaken everyone and raise the alarm about the urgent situation. Members of the Royal Crest Pride jumped from their sleep upon hearing the familiar roar echoing in the distance. Fear and concern gripped everyone as they wondered what had happened. Queen Isolde responded with a roar of her own, and the rest of the pride began preparing for whatever was to come. From afar, everyone could see Kilis running toward the pride, his expression fraught with worry and fear. When Kilis reached the pride, he immediately explained the situation to everyone. Queen Isolde's heart pounded uncontrollably. The pain she endured was unbearable. Her son had run away alone into the night, and her husband was risking his life chasing after him. She quickly ordered Saber to stay home with a few lions to guard the small cubs. The urgency and concern in Queen Isolde's voice spurred the pride into action. They ran so swiftly that the ground shook beneath them, scattering any creatures in their path. Their powerful forms were illuminated by the moonlight, filtering through the dense canopy above. Kilis led the way, his senses heightened with anxiety as he retraced the path where he had last seen Aurelius. The devastating news spread quickly among the neighboring prides throughout the land. The urgent situation shocked everyone, prompting them to gather their members and join the search for Aurelius and Musa. Worry and panic were evident in the faces of all the lions as they searched intensely. They scoured the territory all night without rest, but as the sun rose, Aurelius and Musa were nowhere to be found. Exhausted and thirsty, many of the lions began to lose hope. However, Queen Isolde remained determined to keep searching. She urged everyone to persist, but sadly, the other lions were too fatigued to continue and eventually succumbed to their exhaustion. Everyone felt heartbroken. They couldn't believe their king and Musa were missing. Queen Isolde tried to stay strong, holding on to hope that they would find them. But the rest of the pride was devastated. The scorching sun burned overhead, hastening the neighboring lions to depart for their homes. Thirsty and exhausted, they apologized sincerely for the tragedy and prayed for the return of King Aurelius and Musa. Meanwhile, the Royal Crest Pride continued their tireless search, but there was no trace of their missing king and Musa. Soon, hungry vultures began to circle above them. Kilis, Aurelius's loyal advisor, approached Queen Isolde and explained that the lions were weary and there was no water nearby. He urged her to consider retreating for the safety of the pride. Queen Isolde understood the dire situation. Despite her determination to find her loved ones, she painfully recognized the truth in Kilis's words. They were not in their safe territory, and dangerous predators could ambush them at any moment. Exhausted lions would be at a severe disadvantage. She knew the pride's safety was of paramount importance and couldn't risk losing any more members. With a heavy heart, Isolde retreated back home. As she walked, she frequently glanced back, hoping to catch a glimpse of them, and prayed that Aurelius had found Musa and that they would both return safely soon. Day after day passed, and with each passing day, the hope of their return faded. There was not a single sign of them anywhere. They were gone. Queen Isolde and the entire Royal Crest Pride mourned the loss of the king and Musa. They blamed themselves for the tragedy. Their complaints about Musa had left King Aurelius with no choice but to listen, leading to this devastating outcome. Happiness had vanished from the Royal Crest Pride, and the atmosphere had become increasingly difficult for everyone. When Saber assumed leadership, he underwent a significant transformation. He became harsh and intimidating, using his strength and aggression to silence any dissent. Queen Isolde, once a beloved queen, attempted to counsel her son, hoping to teach him how to rule with fairness and kindness. However, Saber refused to listen. In a troubling display of aggression, he even attacked his own mother, leaving her with severe scratches. Everyone in the Pride was scared of Saber. His rule became harsher and more terrifying with each passing day. Because of his cruelty, they lost their friends from neighboring prides. All the alliances they had built over many years were shattered. The Royal Crest Pride, once proud and united, now lived in fear under Saber's cruel control. Meanwhile, in a distant land rarely visited by lions, lived a small meerkat family, renowned for their cleverness and friendliness. Their cozy burrow was nestled among gently rolling dunes, surrounded by a landscape of shimmering sands and sparse, resilient vegetation. The burrow itself was an intricate network of tunnels and chambers, crafted with care and ingenuity to shield the family from harsh elements and potential predators. Among them lived one particularly brave, mischievous, and rebellious member named Pico. His small stature and boundless energy often led him into trouble. Whether he was sneaking away during lookout duty to explore new tunnels or teasing scorpions just for fun, Pico seemed to find excitement in every corner of their sandy domain. His antics kept the family on their toes, with others frequently having to rescue him from sticky situations. Despite his troublemaking ways, Pico was dearly loved by his family. His courage and adventurous spirit brought excitement and laughter to their lives. One beautiful morning, as the first rays of sunlight painted the desert dunes in warm hues, Pico was once again preparing to stir up concern among his family. Today, he had set his sights on a daring adventure that would take him far from the safety of their burrow. The forbidden territory, known for its dangers, was also rumored to harbor the most delectable berries Pico had ever heard of. These berries were said to be the sweetest and juiciest in the entire desert, and the thought of tasting them was too tempting for Pico to resist. While his family was preoccupied, he sneaked out and bolted towards the forbidden area. Pico's little legs hurried across the sand, his tail wagging with excitement. He could almost taste the yummy berries waiting ahead. Suddenly, he stopped and squinted, looking around carefully. Up ahead, a bunch of rocks looked like lions ready to pounce. With a cheeky grin, Pico jumped into the air, pretending to wrestle with the imaginary lions and show them who was boss. After defeating the imaginary foes, he noticed he was approaching the edge of his family's safe territory. He paused, adopting a more serious expression, as he recognized the tall tree that marked the boundary of the safe zone. His ears twitched nervously as he scanned the horizon for any signs of danger. Once he felt confident that it was safe, Pico dashed forward, his small body bouncing with determination. He was eager for his daring adventure to find those elusive, tasty berries. And there they were, bushes full of delicious berries. Pico's eyes widened, and his smile grew so wide it seemed like it might burst. He rushed towards the bushes, and began devouring all the berries in sight, digging deeper and deeper to find the biggest ones. But suddenly, as he ventured further into the bushes, Pico bumped into something solid. He jumped back in surprise. It wasn't a rock at all. It was something big and soft. His little heart pounded with a mix of fear and curiosity. Carefully, he pushed aside the branches and leaves to see what it was. As the bushes parted, Pico's eyes widened in surprise. There, nestled among the berry bushes, lay a creature with fur as white as freshly fallen snow. At first glance, it seemed like a lion, but the distinctive, luminous white fur made Pico wonder if it was something entirely different.